Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Talk. I'm so happy to be back this week. I missed you all last week, and I'm happy to see the same guests from last week too. So we are Southborough Youth and Family Services. My name is Sarah Castle. I am the Director of Youth and Family Services. And with me this morning, we have Megan Island, who's our Assistant Director. Good morning, Megan.
Morning.
We have Shannon Knyman, who's our Program Coordinator. Good morning, Shannon. And we're welcoming back this week Miss Carrie Toole from Castlebrook Counseling in Westboro. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, good, good. Another snowy day. It's like
another snowy Tuesday.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday thing. It's great. And I was just looking out my window. It's just flurrying lightly, and we'll see what happens. I know the schools have called a remote day again. Is that true for everybody's district? I know Southborough, that's true. No, not in Harvard.
True for mine.
No,
okay.
you're doing an early release.
Oh,
Okay.
Yes. Rush home and then get on your computers and finish the day.
oh man.
It's all about adjusting.
Sure.
We're just going to be flexible. We're going to be fluid. Hashtag pivot.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh gosh.
And this is one of the benefits of mindfulness, because the mindfulness allows us to be more flexible and fluid in our thinking and responding.
Yes. It's perfect.
You like how I did that?
Yes. I love it. I love it. Well, let's start our show per usual with a coffee toast. Happy Tuesday, everyone.
Happy Tuesday. I have to share with you guys, this was my Christmas present from my husband.
Yeah.
So this is an ember mug.
Ooh.
And see this little light? Have you heard of these?
I have. Those are the ones that like stay heated, right? You hook them up
Yep.
to a little like plate that stays warm, right?
There's a little plate, and I don't even have the plate. It has like a 2-3 hour battery life.
Wow.
So I can just wander around my house, and every time I take a sip, my coffee's still warm. And you can set the temperature. You can set your exact temperature about what you like for your coffee.
So we need this for Coffee Talk, because what I find is that by the time we get on, we don't start at 10 o'clock. We're, getting ready and whatever. So by the time the show starts, this is a cold cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I was just going to comment on that. My coffee's cold. And Shannon, I know last week you were feeling the warm cup. And now I'm wondering, were you faking it the whole time?
No, I had to really, really, dig deep because it's warmish.
There's a little bit of warmth left.
Yeah.
So you were being really, really mindful.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Well, that just makes it sound like mindfulness is like magic. Like we're making cold things warm and with our minds.
It is very powerful.
It is powerful.
I don't know about that powerful, but
turn warm. Well, that's a great product, though. We should get that on Coffee Talk. Because,
it's
9 times out of 10, my coffee's cold by the time we start.
Yep.
We are not being paid to say how great this product is.
But maybe they'll sponsor us now.
Yeah.
Never know, you might get some free ember mugs at your doorstep.
Oh, goodness. That's so funny. Yeah, we should start just talking about different coffee products and.
Right.
Yeah.
Shannon, I've been heard how safe it is to drive a Bentley.
Oh, you're so funny. That's great.
I don't know. I'm not so sure. I feel like I have to test that one out myself.
That's great. Yes. Well, Carrie, thank you for coming on again today. I don't remember. We had planned to have someone named Sammy Be Good come on the show who practices mindfulness, and I think she works with children quite a bit. If I'm remembering the right person correctly, but Sammy wasn't able to join us. like many of us who are working in the mental health field, things are quite busy right now because there's a lot of need, but also I think one really beautiful thing that's happening is that stigma is decreasing each day, which is great. More and more people are, we're all in the same boat. And so everybody's just feeling more comfortable advocating for their needs and recognizing mental health services are important. So Sammy couldn't be with us today, but Carrie made an offer. She said, anytime you guys need, like, okay, you're going to regret that. So we're super happy Carrie's with us again today. She's very knowledgeable about mindfulness. Carrie's the director of Castlebrook Counseling in Westboro and does a lot of DBT work, which is dialectical behavioral therapy, and mindfulness is one of the main pillars of DBT protocol. So last week, I know there was a lot of conversation about mindfulness, what it is, what it's not, how it impacts the brain, the neuroscience behind it. And so I think today we're going to do a little bit more with actually demonstrating mindfulness so that viewers at home along with us can get a taste of what mindfulness looks like, and hopefully you find a space at home where you can try this along with us. Mm-hmm. So maybe just a quick recap. I did watch last week's episode even though I couldn't be here, but just to recap what mindfulness is. Maybe you can just give us another snapshot before we dive in here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the shortest kind of explanation of what mindfulness is all about is it's really very simple, and we're doing it already without even knowing it most days. But it's the awareness, having the moment of the awareness of just this present moment in time, without judgment, without interpretation, without, multitasking, but just being present right here, right now. And what that does in the brain is it builds up the ability to kind of like pause and to kind of have a little bit of a buffer between the experience you're in and how you respond to that experience, right? It also is something that they do in medical offices. They teach mindfulness as a stress reduction technique, because as you're slowing down and you're keeping your brain right here, right now, you can build some relaxation. It reduces cortisol, which is our stress hormone. It has the amygdala, which is our fight, flight, freeze, or fawn part of our brain, kind of settle down a little bit. And so it puts us into the parasympathetic nervous system. So there's physiological benefits to it that we hadn't really realized when mindfulness was first really becoming a thing. And that's why it kind of had that like, oh, it's kind of kooky, like sounds great, but give me real skills. Right. And that's what I thought when I was first being trained in mindfulness, until, I really learned about the science behind it. And it's not just, kooky hippie stuff. There's data. You can see functional MRIs in the brain. And so there's physiological benefits to it. And it's a thing that you can do anytime, anywhere, any moment, in any environment.
Right. I just want to add, so I, like you, Carrie, I needed to be sold on mindfulness. It took me some time to really appreciate it. And that's partly why I think this neuroscience information is so important, because it's not just, you should do this because why not? It's feel good. And of course it makes sense.
We all need to just relax and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I posted, nice, but
yeah. Well, when Megan and I had been attending some DBT trainings, there was one video in particular that really sold me on explaining why we should do it, not just do it and here's how to, but I posted that as a comment this morning on last week's episode. But I loved, it's just kind of talking about when you have these stress responses, those responses become strengthened and they become sort of this automatic. You don't even have awareness that you're thinking these thoughts. They just
habituated.
Happen.
Yeah.
Right. And so mindfulness is kind of, it doesn't come naturally at first, but as you practice it, you're carving out new neural pathways. And it's almost like, I think I remember from the training, it was like the more anxious you are, or the more often you have this stress response, you actually become better at having a stress response.
Yep.
Because it becomes strengthened over time.
Right.
And so you've really got to actively try to do something different and practice that so that over time, that becomes the automatic response.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like, the brain is a very efficient organ, and the neuroplasticity, it likes shortcuts, right? It's going to be as efficient as possible. So if you've done something 50,000 times and a thought counts, right? Like a negative thought or like a self-defeating thought or a judgmental thought of yourself or other people, situation, the more you do that, the more the synapses actually get closer together in your brain. Right. So like you're building this like automatic neural pathway in your brain. So you're not even aware that you're doing it. So the mindfulness allows the neuroplasticity of the brain to adapt into a different path. Right. And to challenge those automatic patterns that do get built over time. Yeah. This is one of the reasons why I love working with adolescents so much, because their brains are building at this exponential rate right now anyway. So if we can lay this groundwork in now, then like it's just going to help them for the rest of their lives. So, yeah.
Right. Well, with that, let's do some mindfulness.
All right. Great. Awesome. So I think we talked last week about different types of mindfulness activities, right? So we talked about there's these two general components of them. Mindfulness is a big umbrella. And, the classic ideas of meditation and meditative sitting, there's sitting practices, silent retreats that sometimes people go to where you literally go somewhere for a week and don't speak. Right. And so you're kind of left in your own head and observing the experiences and the meditation aspects of that. That's one component of mindfulness. Right. Mindfulness as a whole is about just awareness into just this moment, whatever you're doing, and just observing the data about it without judgment, without racing ahead, without trying to repeat, just staying right here, right now. Right. And so there are a couple different types of mindfulness. There's those open mindfulnesses, like those silent retreats or the classic, breathing exercises that we've seen before. And then there's focused mindfulnesses. So those are things where you're doing a task. And sometimes it can be a mental task or it can be a physical task. It can be, doing the dishes. It can be making your coffee. It can be, writing out a to-do list, but whatever it is that you're doing, to just do that thing and be so present in what all the different components are of that task that you're doing, and to notice what happens in that space and time, right? So it's kind of like being a scientist of your thoughts, right? So you're just kind of like collecting the data. Ooh, I noticed I had that thought. Ooh, I'm noticing this physiological response because I'm feeling this emotion. Oh, I noticed annoyance because I heard a distraction, right? Being aware of those things, right, is the thing that allows a little bit of a cushion. So we're going to practice this in real time. So let's see, what should I start with? Any preference, like an open one versus a focused one?
Just go for it.
Go for it. Okay.
Go for it.
Excellent. So we'll do a kind of a little half and half of one. So we're going to do something called starfish breathing. Okay. So you're going to use your hands. So have one hand, you know, you don't need to show it to the camera, but you can put it in your lap or whatnot. I'm just going to show, right? We're going to do a little dance, right? You can dance mindfully, by the way. Do whatever you want.
Good.
Been there, done that, right? So I'm just showing the camera for example. So what you're going to do is start at the center of your palm. And then on your breath in, you're going to just trace to the tip of one finger. And then the breath out back to the center of the palm. And then the next breath in, you go to the next tip of your finger and back to the center of your palm. And just kind of keep going around. And just notice what you notice, right? There's no end game for this task. It's just to notice the experience you're having. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay. Get your hands ready. I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes on my handy dandy little Insight Timer app, which I also do not get paid to mention, but it's free. It's great. All right. So 2 minutes, starfish breathing. Notice what you notice, and we're going to talk about it afterwards. Okay. So what did people notice? Shannon, what did you notice about that?
So I found that I kept getting hung up on my ring as it was coming down off of my finger. So I began skipping that finger for a while. And then decided, okay, let's try back with that so that I can be less judgmental of that feeling. So, and I also noticed where I hold tension. So anytime that I do some kind of mindful exercise, and I know that that's one of the points, is like you realize that like it's like doing this and you gotta let it go, you know, or like you're holding it wherever, that it's that nice moment of being able to say, okay, just, yep. Yeah.
Yeah. To let that go, to release that tension. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Excellent. All right. Megan, what'd you notice?
For me, I was like very focused on the feeling on my hand, and like that was very soothing to me. I wasn't like really paying attention to my breath at all. Like obviously I was breathing, but like I was noticing more the sensation, and like that was calming to me. And that's not super surprising to me because I have a lot of like worry stones and stuff like that, that sometimes I'll just like fidget with. So it's not surprising to me that that part was like what I was noticing the most.
Right. So. Great. Good. So noticing the sensation. Sometimes when I do this in my groups, I'll have people saying that, oh, I found it really uncomfortable, the sensation. It felt ticklish and I didn't really, enjoy it very much. So we use that as part of noticing that we're all going to have unique experiences and there's no right or wrong way to practice mindfulness. Your experience is your own and it's valid, right? So thanks for highlighting that. Sarah, what did you notice?
I was just going to comment, and this is true kind of across the board with mindfulness activities, that I have to close my eyes most of the time, because for me to really be present, I mean, anything that I can see, I mean, sight for me as a sense just really triggers too many thoughts, and it's harder for me to sort of be grounded in the moment. So I often have to close my eyes. So I was thinking, am I coordinated enough to keep doing this without being able to see? And I was. I don't know why I thought I wouldn't be, but
there was an anticipatory judgment right there.
Yes.
Did you notice that?
Yeah. So I closed my eyes and I was still able to do it. And I was judging my breathing. I was like, you're breathing faster than you need to, slow down. But I was noticing the pace of my breathing because I was trying to be present.
Right. Exactly. And part of, mindfulness is noticing those judgments as they come in, because they're going to, right? It's how the brain works. And to practice kind of what you just talked about, Sarah, not judging yourself for judging. Right? The human brain is going to do these things, right? I noticed when I was doing it, I heard my kids wrestling around in the pantry downstairs. I'm like, oh, what are they getting? Right? They know mom's busy. So, they're taking advantage, right? So, and I noticed some emotion come up, and then, being able to say, okay, yep, I'll deal with that later. That was just the experience of the thought that I had, and being present in what the human condition is without judgment. Right? So nice. Excellent. Well done. Right. Okay. So let's do another one. Let's do one that's a little more active. So this one will be, let's see, we'll do this for a couple minutes. We'll do one that's called first letter, last letter. And we can do this as a group. And if you're by yourself, you don't need to have other people. You can do it in your own head, just by yourself. So I like to start with animals. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around. I'll call on people. And the last letter of the animal that the person said before you has to be the first letter of the animal you say. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay.
Don't be a jerk and say lynx. Okay, guys?
Now, Carrie, I'm already having some anxiety because, because what's the order here? Because we all look different on our screens.
I'll call on people.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. So you had also anticipatory anxiety. I'm noticing a pattern, Sarah.
Yeah. I need to practice more mindfulness.
I know. Well, and that's part of this, people are going to be on the spot. You're not going to be able to know what you can't prepare, basically. So feeling the anxiety of that uncertainty and being mindful of discomfort, right? And we need to do that. We need to not run away from it. We need to allow ourselves to experience it. And that's what lets the discomfort come down, right? So here's
which reminds me, I mean, just to recap something you guys said last week too, that being aware of the feeling that you're having, but also recognizing that feelings all have purpose. They serve a function. And so, learning, what is this feeling trying to tell me?
Exactly.
So I am experiencing that my anxiety, I have some performance anxiety. So knowing when it's my turn.
So excellent observation. All right. So let me just do this bell. we won't do a particular timer on this. And I'll begin and I'll say rabbit. Shannon.
Tiger.
Megan.
I already can't think of another R because you said rabbit. Rhino.
Sarah.
So I get the O. Octopus.
Good. S. Snake. Shannon.
Elephant.
Megan.
Do they have to be alive?
A dead animal?
Triceratops.
Oh, okay. Got it. My
I have no idea why.
Okay.
But,
S, right? S.
Mhm.
We already did a snake. A squirrel.
Squirrel. Lion. Shannon.
Narwhal.
Megan.
Leopard.
Sarah.
Dog.
Dog. Giraffe. Shannon.
You.
Emu. To Megan.
That's hard.
You know, I didn't say lynx. Come on. U. There's got to be a U.
We're all trying now.
I've got one. Let me know if you want to phone a friend.
Oh, you can phone a friend.
All right, I'm phoning a friend.
You find them in the sea and they're spiny.
Oh, urchin.
Urchin. Yep. So that's an N to you, Sarah.
Oh, N to me. Oh, narwhal was taken. You already all have one in your head, don't you? And
noticing that judgment. Very nice. Yeah, thank you for that.
And come on.
There's one that's
commenting.
I know, right? There's one that's close to like a salamander.
A newt.
Newt. Yes. All right. We'll be done with that one. So what did people notice?
Well, I was stressed.
How'd you feel it in your body? Where'd you feel the stress?
I'm sure, I wasn't really super mindful of where I was feeling it, but I know this about myself. It's my jaw, my shoulders and chest. I was in my head mostly, thinking ahead, forward thinking. I was having fun too, though.
Yeah.
And laughing.
Yeah. It's a low pressure situation. So yeah. Megan, what about for you?
I mean, pressure a little bit, but more in the, like when Sarah said you guys are probably all thinking of one, I was like, oh, actually, no, I wasn't trying to think of one, even because I was like, it's not my turn.
Could have got phoned though.
Yeah, she could have phoned me and then I would have been like, oh no, I don't know.
Narwhal again.
Yeah, but kind of just, trying not to worry too much, I guess. Have fun.
Yeah. Shannon?
I think my judgment was, am I supposed to be having fun? Like, was it supposed to be faster? Was it supposed to be smoother than that? You know, am I supposed to be cracking up? Because that's my default. So.
And actually, I mean, I think this brings up a good question, which is, you know, this is a therapeutic intervention. And I think sometimes people, you know, we've had a lot of conversation about this, but sometimes people might be thinking that, you know, I should only be practicing mindfulness if I'm struggling, if I'm sad, or if I'm anxious. This shouldn't be a fun experience. It should be, you know, something that's I'm working through.
Right.
And right. So maybe we'll have to make this. I know you had a whole bunch of mindfulness activities for us to do, and we just have had so much fun. But maybe you can answer that question for us.
Yeah.
And I know you wanted to let us know about some other opportunities to practice mindfulness.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So in response to the question about like, do I only do mindfulness if I'm struggling? You can. It's going to help eventually. It's not going to be like a switch that flips in your brain, right? It's a very nuanced. Sometimes you can, depending if you've practiced the mindfulness enough and you know what it feels like to be in that state, right? When you get familiar with what it feels like to turn on your mindfulness with intention, then it will kind of like, you'll just drop into it and you'll feel the relaxation and the focus come. When we're struggling with anxiety and depression, that is very, very helpful because it does lift the mood. It does allow for stress reduction, peace, calm, etc., compassion towards self and others. If you don't happen to have anxiety, depression, chances are you're still a little stressed. I mean, come on, right? So it's a great stress reduction. It's a great thing as a parent to practice because it allows me to be more intentional and responsive, not reactive to my kids. It allows me to be more responsive, not reactive to my coworkers, to family members, right? So there's only benefits that can happen from mindfulness, right? It's going to be uncomfortable at times, right? Feeling anxiety perhaps, or not knowing what to do. And that's part of the practice, right? So, and I know we only got to a couple of them today and we got to wrap up. I'm going to be starting to post little guided mindfulness activities just like these ones on the Castlebrook Counseling Facebook page. So there's a Facebook page if you want to follow it, and I'll be dropping them periodically. I don't know if I can promise every day, but my clients have actually requested this. My adolescent clients are requesting this. They want, you know, more of me doing a mindfulness exercise. We do them for every single group. And now they want them to kind of fill in the gaps on the days where we don't have groups. So I'm going to do this in this kind of public format, and anybody can join along.
Yeah. And certainly for some people, it's certainly helpful to have it be sort of guided by someone else.
Right.
You know, if it's hard, it requires so much discipline mentally.
Right.
So sometimes that can be really helpful.
Right.
So
and to know
great.
what even to do, right? Like how do you create something and make it mindful? So I've got a bazillion and one mindfulness exercises in here. So I'm just going to share with the world. So
just in that library of yours.
They're just floating around in there. So
well, awesome. Well, Carrie, thanks so much for coming on again today. It was I'm so happy I got to see you here this morning, and hopefully we've convinced some of you at home to give mindfulness a try for so many reasons. And next week, which is the 16th, we are hoping we have planned to bring on Tanya Snyder from William James College, the Friedman Center, to talk about interface referral services. This is a new service that's available to Southborough residents and to many other communities. So even if you're watching from another community, interface may be available to you. she's going to come on and talk about it so that we can share that with the general public about how it works and what to expect. So we hope you'll join us for that. And Carrie, thank you again for coming. We'll see you all next week.
All right, and anytime. Take care.